Welcome to the world of science fiction, where imagination turns real and every story takes you beyond the stars. Enjoy the ride. I closed my eyes, pretending sleep, but every whispered glance between them felt like a secret code meant just for me. This instantly drops the audience into suspense and emotional intimacy, teasing romantic tension and a mystery. The chamber hummed with a subtle, pulsing light, casting elongated shadows on walls carved from a translucent crystal that seemed to breathe. Above the sky was an impossible swirl of lavender and silver clouds, streaked with floating, bioluminescent flora. Outside, distant waterfalls made a melodic cadence, their mist drifting in with a faint metallic scent. Jade's hand brushed against Liliana's as they moved through the chamber, tiny sparks of phosphorescence dancing where their fingers nearly touched. Emilio felt a shiver run down his spine. The air was thick with an alien pheromone that tugged at memories he didn't remember having. The texture of the floor was smooth yet warm, vibrating faintly underfoot, a living part of the alien architecture. Every hum of machinery, every whisper of wind, heightened Emilio's awareness of the sisters. His heart raced as he questioned his own motives. Was he here to observe, or had curiosity already claimed him? The sisters' voices were soft, lilting, almost musical, yet the words carried weight. Alien script flickered like holographic runes in the air, revealing fragments of culture Emilio couldn't yet comprehend. He breathed in, savoring the strange mix of ozone and honeyed spice that clung to the room. Liliana twirled a strand of Jade's hair with playful mischief, but Jade's violet gaze flickered with unease. Emilio, lying still, noted every movement, the subtle arch of a brow, the half smile that didn't reach the eyes. Micro gestures. Liliana's foot brushed against Jade's. Jade stiffened, then relaxed, letting her guard fall for a fraction of a second. Emilio's chest tightened at the intimacy he was forbidden to witness. Dialogue was minimal but loaded. Liliana: do you think humans understand what we share? Jade: they see, but they do not feel. Not yet. The tension was thick, unspoken. Emilio felt a flush creeping across his face, heart pounding as if the room itself mirrored his emotional state. Every glance between the sisters carried the weight of secrets, desire, and a culture he was only beginning to glimpse. Suddenly the chamber dimmed. A holographic map of the sisters' world shimmered into view. Emilio realized he was witnessing a private ritual, one that humans were forbidden to see. Alien energy spiraled between the sisters, bonding them in a way that left him both awed and painfully aware of his outsider status. Internal stakes. Emilio wrestled with his conscience. Should he look or respect their privacy? External stakes. A sudden tremor shook the floor, a warning signal of the alien HI's alert system. Exposure could cost him more than embarrassment. He might endanger the sisters' trust or even his life. Liliana leaned close to Jade, whispering something that made Jade's eyes glisten with emotion. Emilio's heart thudded. He realized the words were meant to test each other's loyalty, not him, yet he couldn't look away. He felt his own feelings stirring: desire, admiration, guilt. The pheromones, the intimacy, the alien culture, all intertwined into an inescapable pull. The sisters turned slightly, their eyes catching the faint reflection of Emilio's pretend slumber. His presence, once invisible, was now acknowledged silently, leaving him breathless. As the ritual ended, the sisters separated, their laughter soft but carrying hidden meanings. Emilio exhaled, a blush burning his cheeks, realizing that what he saw had changed him. Not only had he glimpsed alien secrets, but he'd felt emotions he couldn't name, emotions that tied him to them in ways he hadn't anticipated. He closed his eyes fully this time, but the images lingered. Liliana's teasing smile, Jade's hesitant glance, and the pulse of their world around him. Something told him this was only the beginning. I told myself to stay invisible, but every heartbeat screamed that I didn't belong, and yet I couldn't leave. Instant tension. He's aware of being an outsider, but curiosity and attraction pull him deeper. The morning light poured through crystalline windows, scattering colors across the chamber like fractured rainbows. Outside, floating islands drifted lazily in the sky, tethered by strands of shimmering energy that hummed faintly. Waterfalls glinted with alien luminescence, casting flickering patterns across Jade and Liliana's skin. Inside, the air was thick with warmth and a faint metallic tang, mingling with the sweet, subtle scent of alien flora. Emilio's fingers grazed the smooth surface of a console, feeling faint vibrations under his palm, like the heartbeat of the building itself. The sisters moved with effortless grace, their forms almost ethereal under the soft light. Emilio's gaze lingered, not out of malice, but out of awe. Every motion, every tilt of the head seemed choreographed, yet entirely spontaneous. His mind raced. Is it curiosity I feel, or something deeper? Liliana leaned close to Jade, whispering secrets Emilio couldn't hear, but the stolen glances and stifled laughter told him everything he needed to know. Liliana, do you think he understands anything yet? Jade, let him learn the hard way. Even pretending to sleep, Emilio caught the flicker of Jade's violet eyes meeting his reflection in the crystal wall. His chest tightened. His emotions betrayed him. Micro gestures became their silent language. Liliana's fingers brushing Jade's shoulder, Jade's hair falling over her face only to be tucked back with a gentle, almost unconscious motion. Emilio's own face flushed as he realized the intimacy unfolding before him wasn't meant for him. But somehow, he was part of it. A sudden vibration pulsed through the floor. The chamber's AI monitor flickered, indicating an anomaly, an intruder alert in the floating islands outside. Jade froze, instinct sharp. Liliana's laughter died midair. Emilio, still pretending to sleep, felt panic rise. He had to remain unseen, yet his heartbeat betrayed him, thudding so loudly he feared detection. Internal stakes. Should he intervene? Risk revealing himself? External stakes. The anomaly could attract unwanted attention, or worse, compromise the sisters' secret rituals. The sisters moved closer, instinctively protective. Their energy seemed to swirl around Emilio without him realizing. The alien bond that tied them together began subtly affecting him. He felt emotions that were not entirely his own. Desire, fear, longing, and something electric he couldn't name. Liliana reached out suddenly, her hand brushing Emilio's cheek. He froze. Not a touch of her own will, but part of the alien ritual's energy spilling outward. Jade's eyes widened, sensing the unintended connection. Emilio's pulse raced, mind spinning. His body knew he should pull back, but every fiber of him was captivated. He could feel their emotions, raw and tangled, bleeding into him like a current he couldn't escape. He was a trespasser, yet he was part of something greater, a connection between sisters, alien culture, and his own awakening desires. The anomaly passed. The AI reset. The sisters exchanged a glance, a silent agreement that the secret was safe. For now. Emilio exhaled slowly, heart still hammering, aware that the ritual had changed him. He had glimpsed more than their world. He had glimpsed his own vulnerability. The chamber hummed with life around him, and he realized he was no longer just an observer. The bond had begun, subtle and invisible, threading their fates together. Foreshadowing next episode, Jade and Liliana's trust in the alien rituals would be tested. Emilio would face a choice, remain hidden or embrace the connection that was already changing him. Every secret they shared felt like a spark I wasn't allowed to touch, but the pull was irresistible. Immediate tension. Emilio's forbidden curiosity is now emotionally charged, teasing both romance and danger. The chamber's walls glimmered with bioluminescent veins, casting a soft turquoise glow over Jade and Liliana. Outside, the floating islands drifted in a slow, hypnotic dance, tethered by translucent energy strands that pulsed with rhythm like distant heartbeats. The waterfalls shimmered silver under twin suns, their mist blending with the warm, metallic scent that clung to the air. Emilio's fingers grazed the console again, sensing vibrations that mirrored the sisters' emotions, a pulse that grew stronger with every subtle glance or whispered word. His body reacted involuntarily to the pheromones lingering in the air, a current that both overwhelmed and enthralled him. A soft hum of alien machinery mixed with the sisters' laughter. The air felt thick, almost tactile, vibrating with anticipation and hidden energy. Emilio felt every micro movement, the flicker of Jade's eyelid, Liliana's casual brush of hair across her shoulder, as if the room itself was alive, aware, and watching him. Liliana leaned close to Jade, whispering words Emilio couldn't decipher. Jade's lips quirked slightly, but her eyes betrayed her nervousness. Emilio, still pretending to sleep, watched every detail, heart hammering. Micro gestures defined the moment. Liliana's hand brushing Jade's waist. Jade's small, almost imperceptible shiver. The subtle mirroring of their breathing. Emilio's chest tightened. He felt emotions not entirely his own, drawn from the sisters' bond. Dialogue crackled with subtle tension. Liliana, do you trust him yet? Jade, trust isn't given. It's tested. The words hit Emilio harder than he expected. He realized he was no longer just observing. They were subtly challenging him, testing his presence, even his morality. A low hum pulsed through the chamber, an AI alert signaling that an external force approached the floating islands. The sisters froze, eyes sharp, senses extending into the unseen. Emilio's body tensed, realizing that he could no longer hide completely. His heartbeat matched the pulsing lights, betraying him to anyone or anything watching. Internal stakes. Should he reveal himself or remain a silent observer? His emotions were already tangled with theirs. Exposure risked more than embarrassment. It could fracture trust. External stakes. The anomaly hinted at a threat beyond the chamber. Alien security protocols could isolate them, or worse, endanger Emilio. Jade and Liliana's movements became synchronized yet unpredictable, a dance of defense and secrecy. Emilio felt invisible threads pull at him, alien energy that communicated without words. Each pulse intensified the emotional stakes, blurring the line between observer and participant. Liliana's laughter pierced the tension, but it carried a note of mischief and warning. She reached out impulsively, and Emilio felt the energy surge again, a physical, emotional jolt that left him breathless. Jade's violet eyes locked onto his, a mixture of warning and curiosity. Emilio realized the sisters' bond wasn't just emotional, it was almost tangible, a living force. The moment expanded. He felt their joy, their doubt, their subtle desire, and his own yearning entwined. It was intoxicating, terrifying, and overwhelming all at once. He wanted to move, to speak, to reach out, but he knew any action might break the delicate balance. Every second stretched like eternity, leaving him suspended between desire and restraint. The AI alert faded, leaving the chamber in a soft, glowing calm. The sisters separated, their laughter subdued, eyes lingering on Emilio briefly before turning away. He exhaled slowly, heart still racing. Though unseen, he understood that this moment had changed everything. He had glimpsed not just alien secrets, but the emotional depth and intensity of a bond humans could barely comprehend. The room hummed quietly, and he felt it. The subtle pull of connection, the invisible thread tying him to Jade and Liliana. The secret world of the sisters was no longer just theirs. Emilio had entered it, willingly or not. Foreshadowing next episode, trust would be tested, boundaries pushed, and Emilio's role, observer or participant, would become impossible to ignore. They thought I was still asleep, but every word they whispered rewrote the truth I thought I knew about them. This immediately establishes emotional stakes and a tone of revelation and intimacy. The night air outside shimmered with static energy, lightning rippling silently through the violet sky. The floating islands glowed faintly from within, their crystal roots stretching downward into the clouds. Inside the chamber, the light was dim, alive, breathing, pulsing like the heart of a living organism. The walls whispered faint vibrations, resonating with the sisters' presence. Emilio's pulse matched the rhythm unconsciously. A faint hum of alien machinery filled the silence, blending with the scent of metallic rain and the sweetness of alien flora drifting from the open window. He could feel warmth radiating from the energy grid beneath the floor, an invisible heartbeat that seemed synced with his own. Jade stood near the console, her expression distant, the glow outlining her sharp features in halos of purple and gold. Liliana sat cross-legged beside her, fingers tracing alien glyphs that flickered in midair. Every movement was hypnotic, alien beauty wrapped in fragile silence. Liliana glanced toward Emilio's still form. Her tone softened. Liliana, he's changing, Jade. Can't you feel it? Jade, he's human. They always change. And never for long, Jade's words cut through the air, but her eyes betrayed hesitation. She had spent cycles guarding secrets from outsiders, yet something about Emilio's stillness unsettled her. His presence felt too calm, too aware. Liliana smiled faintly, leaning closer to Jade. You care, she teased. Jade turned away, but her silence was an answer of its own. Emilio's breath hitched. He shouldn't have felt anything, but the energy binding the room seemed to feed on emotion itself. He could feel their thoughts like echoes against his skin. Suddenly, a tremor rippled through the island. The lights flared crimson. The AI's voice resonated through the walls, cold, mechanical, emotionless. Unauthorized consciousness detected within the sanctum. Jade froze. Her eyes darted to Emilio. Liliana's smile vanished. Emilio's heart pounded. He knew the AI had sensed him, even in feigned sleep. His mind raced. If he revealed himself, would they turn on him or protect him? Jade whispered rapidly in her native tongue. Holographic symbols erupted in the air, orbiting her like fireflies. Liliana moved toward Emilio instinctively, her expression torn between fear and defiance. The atmosphere thickened, energy fields flickering, air vibrating with invisible pressure. Emilio could barely breathe. Internal conflict. He wanted to confess, to prove he meant no harm, but his voice caught, trapped between fear and guilt. External conflict. The AI's scanners intensified. The sisters had seconds before their sanctuary was compromised. Jade stepped forward, fury flashing in her violet eyes. Jade, why didn't you stay out? Her voice trembled, not with anger, but something deeper. Emilio sat up slowly, hands raised. I wasn't spying. I just wanted to understand you. The words felt inadequate, fragile. The hum around them turned into a low roar as the AI's sensors locked on. Liliana grabbed Emilio's wrist, her skin cool but electric. Jade, if we hand him over, he'll be erased. You know what the AI does? The sisters locked eyes, one torn between duty and emotion, the other between defiance and instinct. Jade closed her eyes briefly, then placed her palm on the wall. Light burst outward, forming a shimmering dome that cloaked them from the scanners. The sound dulled instantly, leaving them inside a fragile bubble of calm. Jade's voice softened, barely above a whisper. You shouldn't have seen this, but now you're part of it. Emilio met her gaze. Then show me the truth. Her stare lingered. For a heartbeat, the walls seemed to fade, the world beyond them dissolving into quiet light. The alarm ceased. Outside, lightning receded, leaving the sky painted in deep sapphire and gold. The chamber glowed faintly, like a secret held in cupped hands. Liliana laughed softly, though her voice trembled. Well, that didn't go how I imagined. Jade turned toward Emilio. You risked everything by staying. You have no idea what that means here. Emilio exhaled. Then teach me. The silence that followed wasn't cold. It was charged, alive, filled with the unspoken promise of something new. The sisters exchanged a knowing look, one that She told me the ritual could kill me, but by then, I wasn't sure I wanted to live without knowing what it felt like. A powerful emotional hook, romance, danger, and sacrifice in a single breath. The storm had cleared. The night sky rippled with colors unseen on Earth. Emerald, silver, and burning gold. Floating islands drifted in serene silence, illuminated from within by glowing veins of energy. The sisters led Emilio to a circular platform suspended above the clouds. Beneath them, the world shimmered, a vast expanse of violet mist and starlit oceans stretching forever. The platform itself pulsed softly, alive beneath their feet. Ancient runes flared to life around them, and the air thickened with warmth and sound. Low-frequency hums vibrated in Emilio's chest, mixing with his own heartbeat. Jade's voice echoed, calm but trembling. This is the bonding ritual. It links thought to thought, memory to memory. If your mind falters, the link collapses, and you disappear. Liliana smiled faintly. It's not as bad as she makes it sound. Usually the air vibrated with faint static as threads of blue light rose around them, wrapping their silhouettes in shimmering ribbons. 3. Character interaction and emotional tension. Jade's gaze locked on Emilio. Jade, you still have a choice. Emilio, I made it when I stayed. She hesitated, then reached out. Her palm touched his chest, and warmth surged between them. Liliana stepped beside them, placing her hand on Jade's shoulder, completing the circle. For a moment, silence. Then the lights intensified. Micro gestures. Jade's lips parted in concentration. Liliana's fingers trembled slightly. Emilio's breath caught as electric warmth coursed through his veins. He saw flashes, memories not his own. Jade as a child beneath twin moons. Liliana laughing as she floated through silver rain. Entire lives unfolded in an instant, and with each one he felt closer, smaller, and impossibly connected. The sensations blurred, fear, desire, sorrow, beauty, until he couldn't tell where his emotions ended and theirs began. The ritual's hum deepened. The platform shook. Energy surged too quickly. Emilio's mind struggled to keep up. Images fragmented, cities made of glass, galaxies bending inward, whispers of forgotten gods. Jade's control slipped. He's absorbing too much, she shouted. Liliana's voice trembled. Don't stop now. It'll kill him. Emilio's world split open. He could hear their thoughts, their fears, even their love. It was overwhelming, raw, beautiful, too much for any human to bear. Internal conflict. He wanted to surrender, to dissolve into their light, but a voice inside begged him to hold on to himself. External conflict. The ritual platform destabilized. A bright fissure opened beneath them, leaking pure energy into the clouds. Jade screamed his name. Liliana's hand clutched his tighter, eyes glowing bright white. Then, silence. For one suspended heartbeat, everything froze. Emilio's vision flooded with stars. He stood in a void of light, the sisters' figures drifting before him, their forms translucent, their voices echoing in his mind. Jade, if you stay linked, you'll never be human again. Liliana, but if you let go, we'll forget you. Tears welled in his eyes. Then remember me anyway. He reached for them both, and the light consumed him. When the glow faded, the three of them knelt at the center of the now silent platform. The sky above was calm again, but something had changed. The bond remained, faint, invisible, but alive. Liliana looked at him with disbelief. You survived. Jade's voice was barely a whisper. No human ever has. Emilio exhaled shakily, a smile tugging at his lips. Maybe I'm not entirely human anymore. The sisters exchanged a look, a mix of awe and something dangerously close to affection. A faint hum echoed beneath the platform, deeper and older than the AI's voice. Whatever they awakened in the ritual wasn't finished with them yet. When I opened my eyes, I didn't know if I was seeing their world or if their world had become mine. A disoriented emotional hook that instantly signals transformation. 2. Cinematic world and flow. Dawn bled slowly across the horizon. The floating islands glowed gold, their crystal veins pulsing like veins under translucent skin. Clouds shimmered with residual energy from the night's ritual. Lightning flashed silently inside them, like memories trying to escape. The chamber was quiet, almost sacred. The hum of alien machinery had softened to a steady heartbeat that matched Emilio's own. He rose unsteadily, his reflection ghosted in the glass floor, eyes faintly luminous, irises flickering with violet light. Jade stood beside him, studying the readings on a hovering console. Liliana lingered near the open archway, wind teasing her silver hair. Both looked changed, exhausted, radiant, uncertain. A faint metallic scent hung in the air, mingled with ozone and the sweetness of alien flora blooming outside. Third, character interaction and emotional tension. Liliana broke the silence first. Liliana, you're still here. I thought the bond would pull you apart, Emilio. Maybe it did, just not in the way we expected. Jade approached, scanning his vitals through flickering holograms. Her composure cracked when she saw the readings. Jade, you're resonating with us. Your cells are rewriting themselves, Emilio. So, what am I now? Jade, something that shouldn't exist. Their eyes met, fear in hers, awe in his. For a heartbeat, the air between them shimmered with leftover energy. The connection was alive, breathing. Liliana reached out and touched Emilio's hand. I can feel you in my thoughts, even now. He smiled softly. Then maybe I'm finally understanding what you feel. 4. Conflict, rising stakes. The calm shattered. The chamber lights flickered crimson. The AI voice returned, colder, more severe. Unauthorized hybrid detected. Initiating containment. A distant rumble shook the floating islands. Energy grids snapped to life, sealing exits with luminous walls. Jade cursed under her breath. The AI's rewriting its directives. It thinks you're a threat. Liliana turned to her sister. Then we run. Jade hesitated. If we flee, the entire system collapses. Emilio stepped between them. No, let me talk to it. If I'm part of its network now, maybe it will listen. 5. Climax, emotional peak. He placed his hand on the nearest console. Energy surged instantly, light spiraling around his arm. The AI's tone distorted, glitching with static. Identity conflict detected. Human-alien link. Processing. Images flashed through his mind. Memories of Jade and Liliana. Laughter, fear, longing. Every emotion became data, flowing into the system. The AI's core dimmed. Then in a voice almost human, it whispered, connection acknowledged. New directive. Protect the bond. The alarms faded. The red light softened to gold. Silence returned. Jade stepped forward, eyes wide. You changed it. You changed everything, Emilio exhaled shakily. Maybe it was never about control. Maybe it just needed to understand. Liliana laughed through tears, the sound fragile but alive. 6. Resolution, poetic closure. Later, as twilight fell, the three stood on the edge of the floating island. The wind whispered through the crystal flora. The ocean of clouds stretched endlessly below. Jade looked toward the stars. You could leave now. Go back to your people. Emilio shook his head. Would they even recognize me? Liliana smiled faintly. Maybe that's the point. He turned to them, two beings of light and will, and felt the strange peace of belonging. Whatever he was now, he wasn't alone. As the suns dipped below the horizon, their reflections fused into one streak of amber light across the sky. Three souls bound by a secret the universe itself had tried to erase. Sometimes the loudest moments in the universe are the ones that end in silence. The world had changed, and so had he. The storm was long gone. What remained was stillness, the kind that carries memory instead of sound. The sky stretched infinite and pale, washed clean by the dawn. Floating islands hovered gently like petals above a sleeping ocean of clouds. Emilio stood at the edge of the cliff, the wind cool against his skin. His reflection rippled across the crystal surface beneath his boots, faintly tinted violet, a reminder of what he'd become. Behind him, Jade adjusted a thin, silver cloak around her shoulders, her gaze locked on the horizon. Liliana, barefoot, hummed softly, her voice blending with the wind. The world was alive again, but it wasn't the same world they'd left behind. 3. Character interaction and emotional tension. Liliana approached first, her tone lighter now. Liliana, you've been staring at the same sky for an hour. Emilio, I'm waiting for it to feel like mine. Jade, Maybe it never will. Maybe that's what makes it beautiful. He turned to face them. The sisters stood side by side, both alien and achingly human in that morning light. Their differences no longer divided them. They defined the space between, like two stars orbiting the same quiet sun. Liliana smiled faintly. You're one of us now. Emilio shook his head gently. No, you're one of me. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full. As the three began their descent toward the valley below, the ground trembled. A deep pulse rolled through the air, not mechanical, not violent, but alive. The crystal roots beneath the island began to glow faintly, forming slow-moving veins of light. Jade froze, studying the patterns. Jade, the planet's waking up. Emilio, because of us. Liliana, or maybe for us. They watched in awe as the light spread across the horizon, mountains humming with color, rivers of air swirling in silent rhythm. The entire world seemed to breathe again, as if recognizing its new inhabitants. The three reached the valley, a mirror-like plain where the clouds below reflected the heavens above. Standing there felt like standing between two skies. Jade placed her hand on Emilio's chest. Everything we ran from, everything we feared, it brought us here. He nodded slowly. Maybe this was the plan all along. Liliana stepped closer, eyes glistening with the reflection of twin suns. If the stars ever forget us, Emilio finished her thought, then we'll remind them what love looks like in the dark. A tear rolled down Jade's cheek, half joy, half grief. She whispered, then let's never close our eyes again. They stood together as the sun broke free of the mist, bathing the valley in gold. Time slowed. Wind carried their laughter into the open sky. For the first time, Emilio didn't feel human or alien, just alive. The sisters leaned into him, three silhouettes against eternity. High above them, the stars began to pulse, softly, rhythmically, as though answering back. Not a warning, not a command, just an echo. The quiet between stars wasn't empty after all. It was full of them.